Are you fed up and just drained with children not listening and whining in your classroom? Hi, my name is Prerna Richards, and I'm a behavior coach. Last week's coaching session, the teachers were sharing, I'm fed up, I am absolutely drained, children are not listening, they're using their whining voices, and I am just exhausted every single day. Can you share some strategies to turn things around and help with that? And it got me thinking, so many grown-ups in general, parents, educators, anywhere, are struggling with this, of children not listening and not following directions and using their whining voice to get their needs met. And it is helpful to know the brain states associated with behaviors, right? So we know that when children don't listen and when they whine, it engages the grown-up into this cycle. We also know that this is coming from an emotional need of, I want to be seen and heard from the child's perspective and from the grown-up's perspective. So what can we do? Some practical strategies to recognize that attention-seeking behavior is a relationship-seeking need. I think it's really helpful to start the conversation there, because my guess is what's happening, the ones who are ignoring you, the ones that are triggering you, the ones who are not listening and you are spending a lot of time repeating constantly, are also somehow in your mind, they're labeled that this one doesn't listen. Oh, this one is exhausting, right? So recognizing that there's something missing, and that's the connection. So connection before correction and connection before compliance. I would say one of the best ways to connect with a child, so tip number one, the best ways to connect with a child who's driving you crazy and triggering you and not listening to you is to connect with them and find out what they're interested in. So show an interest in what they're interested in. That's tip number one. And once you do that, then they can start feeling a connection. What do we know about them? Are we just correcting them all the time? Because children who keep getting corrected all the time are more likely to tune the grown-ups out. So that could be one thing that could be happening. There's not a connection. The second thing that could be happening is that they're really engrossed in play and they have literally just left the planet. They're on a different planet and they haven't even heard you. It's not that they're trying to be rude. They are so deep in play that they have just dismissed the grown-up's voice. So if that is the case, then there's a different strategy. So it's really important to understand, is it certain times of the day that they don't listen? Is it play or is it relationships? That's the first thing to understand. Regardless, these specific strategies will help you. The first one, I would say, is be proactive instead of reactive. If you already know that there's certain children that are not going to listen and you're going to have to repeat them, start with them. Go up to them, get down on their level, make eye contact, and give them very simple 2 or 3 step directions. Based on their ages, you might have to modify that. Very helpful tip to remember: when you give them the direction, have them repeat it back. What did you hear me say? This engages the brain, and this confirms that they heard you. So there's no longer then the excuse, I didn't know, I didn't hear you, I was busy playing, right? So having them repeat back is a game changer. And then after that, you have to follow through. You have to be consistent. And if you give an instruction, let's say it's time for cleanup, right? And they ignored you. You need to circle back to that child. What did you hear me say? What did I say? What are you doing? Right? And I know that teachers are like, I don't have time. I have 16 kids, I have 14 kids, and I don't have time to go back and doing this. But guess what? You're spending more time repeating yourself, and you're getting triggered, and you're getting stressed, and you're getting exhausted. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. So do something different, make a change. This could be the change that you follow through. Yes, it'll take time. Yes, it'll be slower, but that child will get the message that this is not working anymore because you're calling it out, right? So that is really important. Even with the whiny voices, the consistency is going to be key. I can't stress that enough. If a child is using a whiny voice, You need to call it out, get on their eye level, make the eye contact, and just say, can you say that again in a big boy's voice? Or can you say that again in a big girl's voice? I didn't hear that. My ears don't understand that, right? So you're holding yourself accountable and you're consistently doing that. Every time they whine, you're going to circle back and you say, well, I didn't hear that. Can you try that again? And I'm very sure in 2 or 3 days, the message is going to get very clear to that child that this strategy is not working anymore. We have to make a change. You know, when you're breaking a habit, you have to replace it with a different habit. So the habit that they're showing up in your classroom with currently is not working. And you're trying to replace a habit and a pattern in your brain and the children's brain. I would say the other most powerful thing is the ones that are giving you the hardest pushbacks and struggles, really join them in play. Imitating their play, just sit down next to them. They're building with the Legos, you start building with the Legos. Imitating play is a powerful way to show the child that you're present, you are available for them, and you are connecting with them. And these 3 C's are very key. I can't stress this enough. Connection before compliance, connection before correction, connection before curriculum. This is going to be your game changer. When children feel seen and heard by their grown-ups, they're more likely to respect. And this develops a trusting, caring, genuine relationship. And that's what's going to change the dynamics. And last strategy, use the power of play. Play lots of games with follow the instructions. Play lots of games with follow the steps. I Spy, Freeze Dance, Green Light, Red Light, Duck, Duck, Goose. There's many games that require children to follow instructions, follow the rules. And even using vocabulary like, we're all cleaning up, we're all lining up, we're all doing this together. It helps them to follow and become part of the family, the school family, to follow instructions and to do this. Puppets are really fun. Puppets can give instructions, puppets can get creative, puppets can give, make funny voices. Puppets are funny, and it kind of makes a relaxed environment where children can, not get the pushback, because all they're hearing is do this, don't do this, and you're not listening, and stop doing this. That is a stressful classroom, and no learning can happen in a stressful classroom. It has to be replaced with joy. If your classroom is very noisy, summer programs are going on right now, but even through the school year, right? If the classroom's voice level gets higher, all the children start raising their voice levels higher and higher, and then nobody's listening, and then it's chaos. So doing 30-minute brain breaks, every 30 minutes, doing brain breaks, reducing the volume of the classroom in a playful way. Okay, we're playing a freeze dance game. Okay, we're just stopping, we're becoming statues. We're using one sense at a time. We're closing our eyes, we're listening to sounds, or we're taking a deep breath with our belly, putting a little stuffed animal on our belly. We're lying down and moving our belly. These are ways to bring the noise level down in a playful, joyful environment. So yes, not listening is exhausting. Yes, whining can be a trigger for many grown-ups, but you've got to change how you're looking at it. Change your mindset so you can change the behavior. And it starts with recognizing that this is a need, they're trying to connect with me. And they have learned a way that this is how they'll get me back and forth with them. Because if a child's not listening, the grown-up is like, did you hear me? Get this done, clean up, you're not listening, line up, do this, don't. Like, this back and forth is happening, but it's not a connecting back and forth. It's just a command and demand. And command and demand doesn't give us the results we need. Connect and then redirect. That's much more powerful than command and demand. I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, subscribe and share it with others that it might help. And leave me a comment. Let me know if this helped your classroom and if it made any changes. And if you have any other questions that you would like answered during these tips, I would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining. Until next time. Bye for now.